Hey guys, welcome back to Beach and Fishing. My name is Paul, Beach and Fishing, my site, talking about all things to do with fishing, rods, reels, accessories, how to catch fish. Everything that to do with fishing is something I love doing. It's something that I love writing about and researching. I've learned so much doing this, more than I ever thought I could. So today we're going to continue on the path of helping you all on your fishing journeys with my 10 best surf fishing accessories. Now, these are the things that I believe when you go to the beach, if you've got these as a bare minimum, you're going to go a long way towards having an enjoyable fishing trip. There's more things that I sometimes take. There's less of these things that I sometimes take, mainly if I forget them. There are things that people like to take. For example, I've got chairs listed on here. Some people, collars annoy me, some people will always take chairs. Drink eskies, all those sort of things are things that they're not must-have, but they're things that you can consider taking as well. So anyway, let's go through my list of 10 things. Now, the first item I've got on my list is a backpack. I'm a big advocate of a fishing backpack, mainly because just about everything else that I go through with you today can fit in your backpack. You put it on your back and you take it all with me. Now, as luck would have it, I was using my son's school backpack, and on the weekend it broke. So I was going to hold off shooting this video, and I thought, let's just get it out there and I can show you some backpacks in other ways. But I'll be going down this week to get the backpack because, trust me, it is something that you can really need. Although that said, I can show you an alternative as well. So I'll just show you what a fishing backpack is, for those of you who haven't been aware. Fishing backpack, you can see some of them come with tackle boxes in. A lot of them put pictures of tackle boxes in but don't actually have them, so check that. This Pisca for one does. You got to see there's a cup holder. There's lots of little pockets and things on the side. There's no affiliate links on this. I'm just basically showing you what a backpack has. You can see it's got the drink holder. It's got the pocket there where you can keep your phones and the like in. It's got other pockets over there. It's got space for tackle boxes, some dry pockets. You can see some lures in that picture, and so on. So that is a fishing backpack, and in my opinion, you can get tackle bags as well, which have a strap over them. Best thing what you can do as well. The reason that I like these is A, because they carry everything that you've got, and B, you only put enough tackle in that you're going to need for that trip. That way you're not exposing all of your tackle, all of your lines, everything else you've got to the elements every time you go fishing, because even when you can be as careful as anything, but trust me, sand will get in your tackle box, will get in amongst your gear. That has salt on it, and there's nothing worse than going fishing and opening up and 2 weeks later and find half your hooks have rusted because salt water or something got in there. So a backpack, again, good for holding all your stuff. I went on a boat with a friend of mine on the weekend. As I say, my backpack had died. I found an old drink cooler. If you open it up, you might be able to see in there, I've got some line, I've got some hooks, I've got a little box. I keep a little bit fastidious. I keep a little box with all my, that's got hook sinkers. I think there's a little lure in there and stuff as well. And I've got some more sinkers and some soft plastics in here as well. That was everything I thought I'd need in the boat. I've got another tackle box in there with much more stuff in it, and it goes from there. The other thing that you'll need for if you haven't got a tackle box in your backpack, the next thing is a tackle box. Now, I recommend something like this. Now, again, the reason for that is if you open that up, I'm sort of working between the two at the moment. You can see I've got a little tackle one there. It's got lots of lures. It's a bit messy, but I keep soft plastics and lures in that one. I use that for surf if I go to the surf or on a kayak. Some of these lures are good for that. And then I've got some bigger stuff in there. See, it's got dry packets. There's an old fishing license at the back, which we'll talk about. My new one is in my wallet, but that's my latest one. There you go. That's my latest fishing license in there. All the dry packs, so I can put my phone, my wallet, everything in here. Zips up. And again, if your backpack doesn't have that in it, then this is my second option for beach fishing. Again, you just put just enough tackle in there that you're going to need for the trip. If it gets full of sand, you empty it out, you can rinse all your stuff in here, and you're not using taking all of your tackle and exposing it to the elements every time. So they are my first two recommendations. A backpack and a tackle box. They could come in one, or a tackle bag, tackle box, something that's small, easy to manoeuvre, and you can go from there. Because don't forget, you've got other stuff that you don't want to have to go back and forth and back and forth, because unless you're on a beach where you can forward drive down, you're going to need to walk to the beach and back and beach and back. So the more you can carry in one trip, backpack lets you carry all that sort of stuff. Third option for the surf is a rod holder. This is a piece of PVC plumber's pipe that I got a friend of mine, a plumber friend of mine, about 5 or 6 years ago to make me all different lengths. All he did was cut it different lengths, slice it off. That digs in the sand. I got these type because these are very good if you're in this type of sand run. These don't work real well in pebbly or rocky sand, but sometimes the beach here is. So I've actually have to. Another thing on my list is to buy a spike type rod holder. If I go back here, in here, and I type fishing rod holder, you'll see. Hang on, let's go surf fishing rod holder. See these? You can see the conduit ones like I've got, and you can see these ones with little spikes on them. They're good if these ones here. They're good if you're dealing in particularly rocky sand, because they will go down in further. These ones struggle with that. But where we normally fish, just twist it in, your rod sits inside, and surf fishing rods get heavy after a while. Or where we go, we chase a big species that's called a mulloway, jewfish. Is a common name for it, and we use these because you don't catch 1,000 of them. You normally catch one. If you catch 2 a night, that's like Christmas. And big heavy rod, big heavy line, big heavy sinker. So that's heavy. That sits in that while we mess around with our little lures or something like that. So a rod holder, in my opinion, is your third must-have accessory. Fourth one is bait. Doesn't matter if you're planning to use lures. In my opinion, always have just a little bag of bait there, because you never know what's coming through. Surf is somewhere where it changes a lot. If you can get local bait, great. I have a little bait holder here. I've got bucket as my next one. This could probably be your bucket. Goes around your waist. Bait sits in there. And that way, if you've got bait or your lures aren't working, if you're just not catching the lure, throw some bait in and see what you can go. You've taken all the time to get there, buy a bit of bait. And the beauty of bait is if you take it down and defrost, just refreeze it. As long as you haven't opened the bag, just refreeze it again. I've done that. People will tell you not to do that. And this is like squid or prawns or something like that. If you've taken it down and you haven't used it, take it home, freeze it, take it back. I've caught just as many fish on it that time. But you open it, goes a bit, and they go all soft and mucky in the sun, get rid of it. But if you don't open it and they're still intact, refreeze it. Take bait with you. Next one's a bucket, a bait bucket, or a normal bucket. It's amazing how many people don't take buckets. I've got one in the caravan and it's got a cover on, so I couldn't get it out. But I actually have it's a camping or a caravan bucket, and it sits flat, which means it fits in my backpack. Push it out, use it to put your fish in. If you do get a line tangle or you want to change your hook, and never put a used hook back in your tackle box, because that just breeds rust. So if you've got a used hook or a used sinker, throw them in the bucket. Any rubbish in the bucket, empty bait bags, and fish. Anything that you use goes in one bucket. That way, that's your messy area as well. Keeping your backpack or your tackle box or whatever nice and dry and clean, so that any messy stuff you're doing, you're dealing with your bucket and not with your bag. So always, if you can, take a bucket with you. Next one, this one should have been number 2 behind backpack, is tools. You'll be shocked how many times you need tools. Those who fish a lot, I'm sure you've got your tools sorted. I've got a little thing here that I bought. It's got a set of pliers, long nose pliers. These long nose pliers actually have some little holders. You can see I've got some holes so I can hold bigger hooks in there sometimes. That'll crimp line, that'll cut line. This one's actually pretty good. Some of them aren't real good at cutting line. This one's actually pretty good. It'll do mono easily, braids a bit more difficult. Long nose pliers, scissors. These scissors are a bit stiff because they've always been, and then they get wet and I rinse them or whatever, but they're a bit stiff. However, very good for cutting line, will cut braid with ease. So always have some tool, dropped it. Always have some pliers and some scissors there with you. I've got my neat little thing here that can go on, clips on my belt. I clip it onto the side of the elastic on the kayak as well, and that works really well. A good knife. This is not my filleting knife. My filleting knife is nice and thin and unused on, if you can't see that on there, but you might be able to see it. It's not very straight along there. It's nice and sharp because it's used to bashing onto cutting boards. Cutting boards is another tool that you should always take with you. A little one. I've got a little cutting board, a little plastic one I stole from the kitchen. Try cutting bait up on sand, and you'll take a cutting board every time. Or if you've got stuff in your bucket, you can't turn your bucket over. So a little cutting board just makes life so much easier. This one, as I say, has gone a bit. It's not nice and sharp, not nice and straight, because it's used to cut fish, like really cut through fish, cut lines off. It gets it has a pretty hard life, this one, but I use it to cut absolutely anything while I'm out fishing. You'd be surprised things you need to cut. Sometimes you need to cut a rope if you've got a crab pot out and it's caught on something, you need to cut rope, all those sort of things. Good knife. I like one with a clip. Again, I clip this down the side of my backpack. I used to when I had one. When I get a new one, clip down the side of the backpack, and it works fine there. And the other thing in your tools is a ruler. Funny thing with the rulers is every one of them says, and this one says, this guide only not to be used as a legal measurement of length. That is because fisheries, I know in Australia, will say that their rulers are the only ones that they can trust as being accurate. I'm not quite sure how they get that, because if I put a normal school ruler along this, the centimetres are right. But anyway, there's pretty harsh penalties where I am if you catch undersized fish. I'm a big believer on not catching undersized fish myself, but yeah, so a ruler helps you check the length of your fish. A lot of people work on catch and release. We did in the tinny yesterday. We didn't bring any home. We had plenty of fish in the freezer, so we would just catch and release. It was great fun. Don't need a ruler for that, but they're my tools you need. Next thing, sun protection. Very important. I have a big brim hat that I use. The only problem with this, if it gets windy, you have to tie it up under there. And this is a fishing shirt. Very nice, and protection from the sun. Keep some sunscreen in your fishing pack. The reason for that is because if you're out there fishing all day and you had too much sun, you actually don't feel well. It can make you feel quite sick. So if for nothing more, protect yourself from the sun so you can enjoy as much of the day as you can. A must if you're surf fishing. A towel is my number, number 8. Always take a towel. I mentioned before about keeping your backpack nice and dry. You're fishing in water, so you're going to get wet. A towel is, if for nothing more, keeps your hands dry when you go in your backpack. Or if you catch, we catch here in Australia a fish called flathead, which have little spikes everywhere. And, well, if you get one of them, you'll know it. Put the towel over it if you need to pick it up. Don't get your best guest towels out of the linen cupboard, but you know, just a little, even a little towel like this, just a little hand towel, anything like that. I've got one that I got with my football membership that's got a little zip in the end, so it's good. I can drop stuff in that. I put old line and stuff in it too, but it worked great for fishing. You need a towel, and you need water. Goes with the sunscreen. Drink some water if you're out, and especially out in a kayak and something like that. It can get very hot if you're on a kayak or in a boat where you're not actually in the water or near the water. If you're standing in the surf, you can put I know we're talking about surf fishing accessories here, but take some water with you. Don't just take beer. Take beer, but take water as well. You'll dehydrate. And the last thing is, as I mentioned, I showed you them before, that's another one, fishing license. We need them here where I live. If you don't have a fishing license on you, you can get fined, so make sure you just drop your fishing license in your backpack. That's it, guys. That's my 10 recommended surf fishing accessories. So your backpack, Tacklebox, all in one or separate, or just a bag like that. Something you can carry everything in, saves you more than one trip. Rod holder for sticking your line, holding your rod in the sand. You'll need a bait and bucket, some tools, so your pliers, your scissors, knife, etc. You'll also need a towel. Trust me, a towel is an absolute must. Sun protection, water, and your fishing license, and you are good to go. As I mentioned before, there's other things, but they're my 10 most recommended. Anyway, guys, thanks for that. If you're watching this within YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel below. That way I can keep you up to date with changes to technologies, new reels that come out, new lines that I've looked at, new lures, helps, anything new that I find I can put onto the channel, and you'll be up to date with that. If you're watching within a post and have any questions about the accessories I've talked about, anything else that you take which is a must add, I'd love to add it to here. Another one in the tools is the fish mouth holder. I've lost mine. You know, the little crimpy things that hold the fish by the mouth. They're another good tool to have as well. Not as much in surf because you can drag them in, but on a kayak and the like. So any other accessories you consider a must-have, you experienced with these, any recommendations that I can pass on in your comments to the readers, would love to hear from you. So please don't hesitate to comment. And that's it, guys. Have a great time fishing, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.